Hey, you guys, welcome back to Ramon at Home. I'm so excited you're here today because in today's video, I'm going to share with you 3 fabulous Christmas wreath DIY ideas. But I'm so excited because I'm going to share with you tips, tricks, and hacks on how to create fabulous Christmas wreaths. They're so beautiful. I cannot wait for you guys to see. So if you are interested in wreath making, please stay tuned. Don't forget to like this video and share with your friends on the Facebook, on the Instagram, and on the WhatsApp. Why? Well, because it is free and it really helps this channel. If you're already subscribed, don't forget to turn the notification bell on because you will not want to miss what's coming up next. Remember, it's just November, so Christmas season is about to begin officially. All right, you guys, are you ready to learn how to create beautiful Christmas wreaths? Let's get started. All right, you guys, so for this particular wreath today, I'm going to share with you how to create a gorgeous, natural looking wreath with a character. He is my inspiration. And so for this one, I'm not going to use mesh. In our past videos, we'll be using a lot of mesh, but I always tell you the mesh is kind of like a tool, right? Well, for this particular, I don't feel like I need one, but I do want to add some texture to my wreath, and the way I'm going to do that is by adding some types of greenery. So I'm going to start with this cedar right here, and I like to add a little bit of glue on it. And when you fluff it, what I like to also do is put one of these bristles through my wreath to secure it, and that's going to stay there because it is locked and loaded. I do need some glue. You guys, I'm having so much fun teaching these classes for you, and I really hope that you are learning a few tips and tricks of the trade to make your designs sing more, to be more beautiful, and just to inspire you in general. All right, so what I'm doing right here is I'm going through my wreath, and remember that we always work in this, like I like to go from my right to my left, and the way I do that, I grab my pick, I give it a little bit of a fluff, always give it a little bit of fluff. I always like a fresh cut because I come from the world of floral design, and we always did a fresh cut to the flower. So it's something that I just learned to do, and now even with silks I do it all the time. And I grab one of those bristles and I just twist it in to lock and load it and to make sure that it's not going to move. So once again, I always just like to fluff my stems, and remember to continue to come this way like this. And I'm going to just attach it with my bristles. You guys, I love working with this type of form. In the past, we've done some flucked ones, some heavily flucked ones, and good Lord, those destroy your hands so much. But this particular one, I love the bristles. I love how fluffy it is. I just absolutely love it. Okay, so once we went around all the way, remember that what happens on the right happens on the left. What goes up must come down, and everything that goes on, everything that goes on must come in. Everything that goes out must come in. So that means it's like you have on the outer perimeter of it. So now we're going to add a few to the inner perimeter of it. So I'm gonna grab my stem, I'm gonna lock and load it right there. And so now I'm gonna put one on the top and then one on the bottom. Now keep in mind that, like I said, we're going on a clock motion, and you have to respect that. If you want your wreath to really be balanced, we have to respect that. So see, I inserted that one, so now this one has to come this way. So it's the opposite. And I don't know if you know this, and I think I've mentioned to you this before, but what a wreath is nothing but a garland attached at both ends. And that's the way the ancient Greek people came up with the idea of the wreath. And I just absolutely love that bit of information. It has served me well because that really makes me understand that a wreath has to have that circular shape. Right, so then we have this pick, and I think I can just pull it out. Now all of this is from Shinoda Design Center, you guys. So if you see anything that you like, be sure to give them a call. I love a variety, and you know what? I don't think I want the pine cones on this. I'm gonna just take the pine cones out. I just want the greenery and the berries because it's going to be a more natural. And like I said, I love this one. It looks very natural, very real. And so now I'm going to start, oh, I need some glue. Don't forget to glue. We don't want those wreaths to be falling apart in our customers' homes, right? So I'm gonna once again just grab that bristle and attach it and fluffing everything, making it come alive. Look how flat it was, and now look, if you see this sideways, that's what it should look like. So I'm going to put some glue in here, and I'm going to go in between all of those first round of greenery. I'm gonna go through here like that. Remember to continue to go on a circular angle or motion. And this should be really, oh, I love it. I love it when it's that easy. Once again, the pine cone, I don't like the pine cone. Not for this particular design. I love pine cones, don't get me wrong, but just not for this. Look how flat it is, but if you just pull it out a little bit, look at all the life you're giving your wreath. And that's what I love, because when you put it on a door and it just makes it sing so beautifully, you know that I love my flyaways. And the reason why I call them flyaways is because when you slam that door, or when you when there's a windy day, like it just flies away in the wind, and to me that is so beautiful. Okay, I have a few more that I'm going to add, not without first touching every single stem. And I'm going to attach right here. Once again, come here, grab one of those bristles and just twist into one of the stems. The glue is gonna make it really stay there, and then that bristle is gonna lock it. Once again, look you guys, you can just pull this out this way, like that. And so now we have this beautiful thing. Oh, the pine cone. What is your favorite style of wreath making? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what is your favorite style of wreath making. All right, you guys, so we are back and it is time to make a bow or two bows, a shorter one and a bigger one. And for this particular design, I chose the traditional colors, but with a little bit of a twist, let's say it. I like the traditional colors, but sometimes traditional colors, they have, the patterns are not as exciting as she is. So I thought that she deserved to be a little bit more exciting, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab this beautiful polka dot ribbon. I'm going to make a small bow and a large bow. So I'm going to grab my ribbon, I'm gonna dovetail it. For the top one, I want the tails to be a little shorter. So I'm going to go like this. Remember, fold it like a taco and then pleat it right here. And if you want to go on your thumbs, it is easier because this is going to be a lot of ribbon. So basically just go like this. You're going to twist and then we're going to go up and bring it down. Or what you can do, and I like to do, is pinch right here like a taco, and then this is what you're going to bring to your thumb, and then you want to like give it that, like that. And so now I'm gonna cut right here. Like I said, the top one, I want it to be shorter tails, where the bottom one is going to be long and dramatic. Because as I've been telling you, I love me some drama, honey, especially if it is on my wreath making. Not so much personal drama, I don't care for, but if it comes down to dramatic wreath or a non-dramatic wreath, I'm gonna go for the drama. And also I tell you to dovetail as you go, it is easier. So once again, just pinch right here. This tail is going that way, so I'm gonna do this tail going this way. And then once again, just pinch right here. This is about a 20-inch bow, and then you're gonna bring it up like this. You want to make sure that you fluff. And then we're going to pinch another 20 inches, and then we're gonna go like this. And so now that's gonna give us that shorter tail. Once again, cut on an angle, and then swoop to the other side. And that's gonna give you your dovetail. As I told you before, look at this dovetail. That is not acceptable. Look at this dovetail, oh my God. You guys, I am always telling you that if I come to your house and if your ribbons are not dovetail, I'm going to ask you for a pair. That's much, look at that, that's perfect, much better. I'm gonna ask you for a pair of scissors so I can do it for you. And so now I have this beautiful sequin ribbon. This is what, oh, this is so pretty. It is a thinner ribbon, it's a daintier ribbon. Doesn't have much of a wire, but I still wanna add it because it is so pretty. And it will catch the light, so it's okay. Like that, you fluff. And then what you want to do is you want to come up, fluff, like this. You have to make sure you fluff this. And once again, cut as you go. Oh, this one was much easier. You know, these Stevens ribbons, the wire is really hard, so some very thick, so that's why sometimes it's so hard to cut. But when the wire's not so thick, look, it's easy breezy. There you go. All right, so now the fun part is going to be this beautiful striped ribbon. Look how beautiful this is. I'm gonna add it right here, about that much. I'm gonna swirl, and then I'm going to pinch right here, and I'm going to go like this. go up and like this and go down. And this one I'm gonna cut at an angle because it's a 1.5 inch. Look how pretty this is. Isn't that just absolutely, oh, dovetail, dovetail. Oh no, angle, because it's a 1.5. I always tell you that from 1.5 down, I like to cut at an angle, and from 2.5 up, I like to cut at a dovetail because it makes sense in my head. I don't know why. All right, so for this particular step, I'm going to grab a zip tie, and I'm going to zip tie this together, all of it right here. And I always tell you also to finish your zip tie in the back. It is a little more secure because when you cut, you can cut yourself. It is sharp, so we make sure that it's in the back so that way we don't cut ourselves. And before we zip tie really hard, we need to make sure that we fluff and all of these beautiful bows are facing up. And then also I'm gonna add a little wire. And now we're gonna cinch really hard. And this is what I mean by cutting. This is going to be sharp once we cut, and I don't want you to cut yourself. And so that's why we put this wire right here. And we're gonna swirl it around once or twice to lock and load it. And then we're going to put this bow right in here. And the way we're gonna do it is we're gonna grab both of the wires and we're going to push towards our wreath. And then I'm gonna grab a bristle on this side and just twist it in. All right, so we're back, and the next step is going to be to add our ornaments. And you guys, I've been gluing ornaments in the past few videos, but this time we're going to wire them. So I have just a simple wire, and I'm going to go here and I'm going to push all the way in to make sure that I attach all the way to the bottom of the bristle, and then you just swirl it once or twice. You're gonna let it hang. So I have 4 of these beautiful gold ones, and I'm just going to repeat the colors on this: red, gold, and green. And then I'm going to go right here, and you can even put your head through, but I think for this one all we have to do is pull this apart, go like that, swirl it, and then that ornament is going to stay there. This is the same process you would do on a Christmas tree, and I just think it's easier. I love to glue if I'm using a mesh, but if I'm just using, in this case, a wreath like this, I'm going to just use wire. I think it is way easier than having to glue. Look, you won't even see it. So I created that triangle, so now we're gonna start doing our clusters. And for that, I like to use a variety of sizes of ornaments. So we have this glitter red one, and like I said, I'm just using the same colors as the outfit in the character. That's the best way to kind of come up with the colors, and we're going to create those clusters. Remember, if you wanted to, you can, at this point, because you are wiring, cluster them together, but I like to have control of things, right? So I'm going to add another one right here, like this. So see, cluster, cluster. Now I need to add another one over here. I'm going to add this little one. Once again, it's all about creating different widths of ornaments and creating those clusters. How do you put your ornaments on your wreaths? Do you glue them all the time, or do you wire them? Wiring them, it's new to me because I learned this in the flower shop where I worked. I used to glue, but my boss just wired everything, I'm talking about everything. He'd wire everything, and so that's where I learned how to do it. And now I like wiring better. All right, I am back, and I'm back with some beautiful ornaments, you guys. Look how pretty this one is. It is stunning, and the same thing, we're gonna start to cluster. I put this last one right here, and so I'm gonna start to cluster some of these ornaments by wiring them. And I always like to work with the same ornament till I'm done with that one, right? One element at a time. It's what's going to create that balance on your designs. So once again, I'm going to add one right here, and I want it to hang down, so I'm going to go from here. You can, the other thing about wiring them is because you can make them dangle to where if you glue them, that's not gonna happen because they're stuck, like they're basically stuck together, right? But because you are wiring them, you can make them sing even better when the door closes, which is, I'm sure by now you know that that's like my favorite thing, is when the movement, the flyaways and all the movement on the wreaths, especially on the wreaths and the Christmas trees, I love it. Right, there's a few more of these, and wait till you see the next one. It's so cute. So I'm gonna grab this, and I'm gonna go up here on the top, Because remember, what goes up must come down, and what happens on the left happens on the right. So I'm gonna add another one right here. I think it's my last one of this element. And to me, a beautiful wreath means beautiful ribbons and beautiful ornaments and beautiful picks. If you have all of those elements, it makes sense to have a gorgeous wreath. All right, so now I have this other green one, and once again, I'm pulling all of these colors from the outfit on the character, and I'm trying not to get too close to her, so that way I don't hide her face. But I do want to add, look, like right here, you just lift up that greenery, and look at that, stays right there. Now at the end of the wreath making process, if you wire, what you could do is, if you are making it for sale, then you could go in there and just add a little dab of glue every time that you add an ornament. You don't need to, because like I said, the wire is really going to prevent it from going anywhere. And if you leave a note to your customer saying, hey, your ornaments are only wired, you could always repurpose them. People love that, you guys. People love the fact that you care to send those little notes with instructions. I remember the first time I got a wreath on Etsy and it had a personal letter, like a thank you letter. That inspired me to do that myself. So now every time that I send out a wreath, I always take, at the end of the season, I go to places like Home Goods or any place that has business cards in the boxes, and I buy a whole bunch of them, and I just send personal cards with every single one of my wreaths. All right, let's see, where do I need another one? Right here. Right here, I need one of these. See how they're starting to go in and out, in and out? I feel like I need another one right here. And we're gonna put a wire. Now this next ornament is one of my favorite ones. I think it is super cute and glammy, and I love to add a little touch of glam. You know what, I'm gonna add this guy right here, but upside down, so it stays right there. So I'm gonna grab my bristle, and I'm going to attach really hard. And look at that, that's gonna stay right there. All right, so now some jewels. These are some really cute jewels, and I'm going to add some of them to my wreath. Remember, ornaments, picks, stamps. So I'm going to make sure that they're intentional. I want them to stick out, so I'm gonna put them upside down, like so. Grab that bristle and put that ornament there, and then just let it stick out like that. Look at that. I'm gonna add a few more of these jewels to my wreath, and at this point it's getting very tight with ornaments, so I have to be intentional where I want these jewels, because I do want them to show. Look at that, like that. Okay, so our last step is going to be to add our flyaways, and for my flyaways, as I told you earlier, I chose this beautiful variegated holly. Holly is one of my favorite foliages for the holiday season, especially fresh, you guys. I lived in Kansas for a long time, and I just love the variegated holly for the holidays in fresh flowers. Oh, it was so pretty. What I like about this one is because you get two cuts. You get a shorter cut and a longer cut, and you get to determine how short or how long you want it. And I like to cut them all at once, so that way it saves me a little bit of time. It's a little faster. However, I still like to bend it and play with it. So look what this is going to do. I'm going to go right here, and it's going to add that extra oomph, the extra nature. And don't forget to put lots of glue. I'm gonna go right here on the bottom, actually right here. Look at that, it gives it that three-dimensional feel. You guys, don't make any wreaths without flyaways. They just look so much prettier. I'm gonna add one right there, give it a little bit of a twist so it shows. Remember, what goes up must come down. However, at the flyaway stage, we basically break all of the rules and we just go crazy with it. The more flyaways, the better. And we just have to make sure that they are all throughout our wreath, right? Because we want to make sure that we continue that shape and that it's going to be absolutely perfect when our customers or our family members or our friends get them. Like that. We have some shorter ones to add. The shorter ones can go in the inside, like I put one right here. Then I'm gonna put one maybe right here going up, like that. And I want I don't want to hide the ornaments. However, I do want to be that three-dimensional depth and feel to it, because that's what's going to make your eye travel throughout the wreath, and then it's going to look beautiful. See, you're giving dimension to your wreath by adding all of these flyaways. And I like to separate them between the longer ones and the short ones, so that way I know. Once again, I'll tell you all the time that you have to know how many you're working with, whether it's sets of 3s, 2s, and 5s, or odd numbers, because that way you can divide it between all of your sides. I need one right here, like that. How pretty is that? All right, let's see, where else do I need one? Maybe right here on the side. It's getting to the point where I'm gonna have to stop while I'm ahead. But you know what I always like to say, go big or go home. Go big or go home, especially during the holidays, you guys. When you think you're done, double it. Just when you think you're done, do it again, because it will look more beautiful. And you're not done till it's overdone. That's my thing. You're not done till it's overdone. And this, I think this is allowed to be overdone. I think it is more beautiful during the holidays. More is more and less is a bore. All right, so far I think I'm gonna add one right here by the bow, actually on this side. All right, you guys, so this is the end result on this beautiful traditional with a twist color scheme. I love the little character in the middle, and check out all of these beautiful ornaments. Remember, to create depth and dimension, you have to do your flyaways. What happens on the right happens on the left. What goes up must come down, and everything that goes out always comes in. If you follow these instructions, you too can create beautiful wreaths this holiday season. I really hope you learned some tips and tricks in this class. I cannot wait to come back with more, so stay tuned. All right, you guys, so I am back, and the next step is going to be to add some greenery to our wreath. As I'm sure you noticed by now, it's pretty white and stark, but I want to add some texture to it, and the way we're going to do that is by adding some of these picks of greenery. And I chose this beautiful pine that is flocked. Actually, I have a few items that I'm going to add. I'm going to grab I'm gonna put my wires around this side, my hot glue gun, and remember to always give it a squeeze. I just put a new glue in it, so you have to make sure that it's pushing really good. All right, so we're going to add enough glue to our stick. And once again, I'm gonna start right here on the top. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted the mesh to be put in first, because that's going to allow us to glue into our wreath even better. What a mesh does is it really helps to bond your hot glue gun, and I just absolutely love this beautiful greenery, you guys. And remember, what goes up must come down, and since we're going on that spiral motion, we have to continue with that shape. So remember, we're going to go around, and my hot glue gun, there you go, now we're talking. You guys, I have a story to tell you. So the other day when we went to Vegas, it was 117 degrees one day, and I just tell James, I was like, I don't know how people live here, because we have a friend who invited us to her boys' graduation. I was like, girl, this is way too hot, way too hot. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here. And so I remember we were sitting at my cousin's house, and we opened the door, and it just felt like you opened the oven. It was so uncomfortable. I don't know how, if you live in Vegas and if you're watching, I don't know how y'all do it. That's very brave of you to stay there. Okay, so we're gonna go like this. So I'm gonna go over to this side, like that. Look how pretty that little bit of a greenery just added some more texture, so much more texture to the wreath, and I just love the way this is starting to look. I'm gonna bring one more of these flocked picks, and I'm going to go from the inside. So I'm gonna bring it over here. Now, when you are working with greenery, you have to know how many you have, because you might have to break them into sets of 3, 2s, and 1s. That is, to me, the magic number. If you are working with greenery, with ornaments, with flock, with anything, you have to know how many pieces you have, because you need to spread them apart between the top, the bottom, and all of it. So I'm going to add this guy right here. Look how pretty that is. This is almost like a frosted eucalyptus, and I absolutely love it. This one I'm cutting right below where the snow begins. And then also I like to touch them and just give them a little bit more character. Every time that you insert a stem or a pick, just go ahead and give it a little bit of a curvature. I'm gonna put this guy maybe over on the outside, on this side. And so basically what you're doing is you're doing clusters of greenery. Every time that you put a piece of greenery, I recommend to take that as a guiding point. So that way you can do a cluster of ornaments, greeneries, whatever that you're inserting. It is better if you cluster it. When I did the live for the fall basket, if you guys have not seen the live for the fall basket, well, I don't know how into fall you're getting right now because it's more like about Christmas, right? But when I did that basket, like a lot of people say, oh, I've never seen somebody cluster the florals. And to me, because I come from the floral design world, I was taught that whatever you are inserting, it is better and it shows better if you cluster it together than if you just polka dot it throughout your design. And with this particular greenery, like I said, I just wanted some green because I'm going to add so many ornaments and ribbons to this. I just wanted that texture of the ribbon. So we're just gonna add a few, and I always tell you to leave some at the end because you want to make sure that you have some to fill in spots. And since I'm going to add ribbons and stuff, I feel like I need to add one right here. And the ribbons are pretty wide, then there's no need to really fill it in with lots of greenery. I'm going to leave two towards the end. I'm gonna put them down there. We'll get back to them if we need them. Like I said, this is just to give us texture and to really give us the shape of the wreath that we need. So I'm going to add this guy right here. Okay, so now that we have all of this greenery, we need to bring in the star of the show. And for that, I'm going to put this wreath down on the table again. And I'm gonna put it the long ways. I'm gonna grab my pinwheel and I'm gonna find a place where to put this pinwheel so it rests on that stripe of mesh. Then I'm gonna grab my glue and I'm going to add lots of glue all throughout. And what you need to do is put the glue on the mesh like this, because that mesh is what's going to hang on to him. Then what you need to do is just like lightly dab it. Okay, I'm gonna have to pull my hot glue gun closer. Then I'm gonna spin it around and I'm going to do the same thing over on this side. So I'm gonna grab his head, move it a little bit. And like I said, just have that mesh touch my character so that way it all sticky in. And be careful because the glue's pretty hot. I already burned myself twice in the process of the making of this wreath. All right, so our next step is going to be to add our ribbons. And for this particular design, I chose this beautiful velvet D. Stevens from Shinoda Design Center. And what I like to do is always dovetail first. And we're going to create a bow. So I want to start with a bow, and this is a fairly thick ribbon. So what you need to do is do a 2-loop bow like this. The way you do is you spin, you come up, and it's better to put your hand like this. So we need a 2-loop bow, and then I'm gonna grab one of my wires. I'm gonna wire this together because I'm going to attach it to the top. But like I said, this is a fairly thick velvet ribbon, so you have to make sure that you use this wire so you don't lose the shape of your bow. See, and then we fluff, we bring it forward, we fluff, and I'm going to put this right here. So what I need to do is grab a bristle and go through the back because I want it to be really tight. So we're gonna grab a bristle and we're going to swirl that wire to one of our metal bristles on the back to secure it like this. And look, we have now this bow. Now we can start our loop. So I'm gonna start this loop right here. I'm gonna go probably about 18 inches. Once again, I'm going to pinch right here. I'm gonna grab one of these bristles once again and attach to my ribbon and then fold back, and that's going to hold it right there. So now I'm going to do the same thing
about 24 inches, pinch and fold, and I'm going to attach to one of my bristles by attaching and then folding that bristle. Now, if you wanted to, what you could do is go back and then put some glue right here. But I'm not going to do that because I'll show you in a minute why. So I'm going to dovetail right here. And that's going to hang down. So that's cute, I love that. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another one, but probably from over here. Once again, what you need to do is fold these like a taco. And then, who doesn't like taco knife, by the way? And that's how I came up with that concept. Fold it like a taco, because I was like, Taco Tuesday. It was a Tuesday and I was hungry. So I was like, Taco Tuesday sounds just about fine. We're going to do the same thing. So we're going to fold, reverse. And then also what you could do is, like, if you have problem with your fingers, I'll show you. You can use your index and your thumb right here. Then you can fold it like a taco, like this. Bring it up, twist it, go about the same, which is about 18 inches. Fold it like a taco and bring it, and then you go down. And at this point we grab, because it is sometimes easier, it is hard to work these really thick ribbons, so that's the best way to do it. Is I've seen people use a bodabra or a bow maker. I've never used one before. I just like to use my fingers, but I understand that sometimes it gets hard because these are really, really thick ribbons. Good quality ribbon is fairly thick. So we're going to scale down. So think of a ladder. So we're going to do that step ladder motion. So I'm going to go right here. Look how cute that's going to be. And remember, there's going to be, I'm going to put it on the table for a second so I can put it. There's going to be a lot of ornaments on these wreaths. So that's why I'm going to do that skip, because I want to leave some space for my ornaments. At the end of the day, the holidays, at least for me, it's all about the ornaments. That's what makes it look very festive to me. Okay, so now that it's there, I'm gonna fluff a little bit. I'm gonna put it back so you guys can see what I'm doing right here. So now I'm going to grab, once again, fold and pinch, create that loop. I'm gonna grab a bristle over here from the bottom, and I'm going to fold to secure. Thank you, Jameson. You guys, give it up for Jameson, who's been helping with this masterclass today. And I'm just so grateful to have the help, because I've gotten to the point where, like, in order to do all of these things, I need help, you guys. And so Jameson's just been so helpful. So give it up for Jameson. If you guys been following me on YouTube, then you know who Jameson is. But if you haven't, come here, say hi. This is my little helper.
Assistant elf.
The assistant elf. All right, so now I chose this glitter ribbon, and we're going to do some loops. All right, you guys, so first of all, we have to name the penguin. I cannot come up with a name, but it has to start with a P. So Peter the Penguin is an idea. Be sure to leave a comment down below and tell me what you want the penguin's name to be. But I do have my ornaments right now, and I'm gonna bring them one at a time. The way I like to do ornaments is I like to glue or wire one style of ornament at a time. So what we're going to do is we're gonna grab some of this glue, and then be generous. You know what? Don't be afraid of the glue. We once again want it to stay up, and so be sure to grab some of that mesh, because it's going to really attach to it. And as I told you earlier, it is better to do one style of anything at a time, because that's what's gonna give you the balance. If you have 5, then you need to work instead of 3, 2s, and 1. So that's 3, 2, that's 5. And then also the triangle. So we're gonna start right here. I'm gonna add another one of these ones up here. So that's 2. Once again, trying to attach to the mesh as much as possible, because that's what's going to really keep that wreath in shape this whole winter season. All right, so be generous with your glue. Smear it if you have to. I'm gonna come down here. I'm going to put one right here, right underneath him, making sure that he looks almost like he's sitting on a bowl of snow. And don't forget to remove all of these little strings that the ornaments come attached with. The type of glue that I use, if you're wondering, it is a Gorilla Glue. You can get it at Walmart, but any glue will do, to be honest. I'm gonna add here. Every time that you move something to insert an ornament or a pick or something, be sure to move it and then put it back on place, so that way you don't lose the shape of your design. So I'm going to attach this other one right here. And just remember to add tons of glue. How pretty are these, you guys? They look like snowballs. And I just absolutely love them. So now I have to add one over to this side because I don't want it to be unbalanced like this. And like I said, once again, that will tack on to the mesh and it'll stay in place. Look at that. All right, so now we're gonna move on to some other style of ornament. You know what? I'm gonna leave this one to the end. So I'm gonna swap boxes. And these boxes come in handy when you're trying to do this kind of work because it keeps them organized. And I like to keep one style of ornament at a time, like I said, so it just helps me to stay on track. And I'm going to add this beautiful white iridescent ornament. And I'm going to add it right here, right next to my penguin. Like that. And sometimes you have to hold them a little bit while they tack on to the mesh, and it also better sometimes to work on a flat surface, but for the show's purpose I like to do it on a stick. Oh my god, I just got some glue on my shirt. It'll just have to go to the dry cleaners again. All right, so we're gonna put that one right there. We're gonna try and fill in this as much as possible with ornaments, one at a time. What happens on the right happens on the left. What goes up always has to come down, and trying to latch on to some of that mesh like this. Look how pretty this is. It looks so festive. Okay, so hanging on to that right here. I'm gonna let it dry for a second as it latches on to that mesh. You guys, this iridescent white is so pretty. I cannot tell you how gorgeous that is in person. All right, so I'm going to attach another one over on this side. I told you I had a lot of them. And to me, that's what, like when I learned how to make wreaths, my boss was so adamant about adding a lot of ornaments to your wreaths because that's what catches the light and it makes it look so festive. All right, so I'm gonna open up right here and I'm going to just hold it for a second as that touches on. And as I do that, I wanna take a second once again to thank you for being here, for joining the masterclass, you guys. We have so many ideas for this holiday season 2025 that I am super excited and beyond to be able to bring those ideas to you. So thank you for being here. If you were in a class, I would say this is where I would ask you for a round of applause for yourselves. So if you are watching, give yourselves a round of applause for being here. Okay, so I'm going to, that's gonna stay. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put it flat. Once again, oops. All right, so if you know me, you know that I'm all about the flyaways, which is what's going to take this design to the next level. And the way I like to do that is with some picks. So for this particular design, I chose some of these white frosted eucalyptus and then also this just like a glitter beautiful pick. I'm gonna go with a glitter beautiful pick and I'm gonna put this in the back because I might still use it. But I like this one because it adds to the champagne nature of it all. So I'm going to add two over to this side and I'm gonna cut some of these guys right here. And once again, having all of your work prep is what's going to make you a better designer. So go ahead and cut as many possible at once, and that way it won't take, you know what, I'm gonna cut two because like I said, trying to have this done as soon as possible is what's going to make you money. You guys, I'm always telling you that if you're making this to sell, you know, you can discount the products, but you never discount your work because your work is what makes those designs. You know, the product can just sit on a shelf, but it is your hands that make the design. So I'm always telling people never, never, never discount your work. Just try and work as fast as possible so that you can make more designs, but never discount your work, all right? Now that I preached you about, so what you need to do is you need to clear some of the bottom. And so I'm going to start by adding some glue right here. This does not need a pick because it's very pointy. All you have to do is, like I said, just peel some from the bottom. This one comes out very easy. And we're gonna start at the very top. And I'm gonna start by adding some to the in, some to the out. And we're going to work all our way around So what happens on the right happens on the left. And remember to just cluster these right here together. Once again, that foam is going to help you to attach to it. And I absolutely adore this pick. It has a lot of glitter. It is so festive. So we're going to go on a circular motion, and don't forget to go from the behind moving forward. As you continue to go your work around, go from the top to the bottom, and then also in and out. Top to bottom, in and out. Top to bottom, in and out. Which reminds me, in and out prayer for lunch, Jameson?
Always good.
Always good. You guys, we have a joint here in California called In and Out. It's a burger joint, it's so good. I'm sure that if you visited California, you probably had it, because everybody that we know that come to California to visit, they're like, oh, let's go to In and Out. And for a good reason, because it really is really good. Okay, so I'm gonna go over on this side, like that. And once again, in and out, in and out. And peeling some of this. And look, that really is helping it catch the light and giving it that texture that I need on my design. And once again, just pull. If your pick is not as easy to pull, just go ahead and grab some wire cutters and pull that with your wire cutters. But look at that, like that. Pull back. And you know what? I think that white one might actually work with this too. What do you think, Jameson?
I agree.
Okay.
The white.
Put the white in. Okay, so I'm gonna continue adding this pick, and I'm going to explain something real quick. When you are adding these picks and you pull your, like whatever you want to peel, from here down is where you have to add the glue. From here down is where you want to give a little bit of a curvature, like this, boy down, because when you insert it, that's what's going to catch the air and it's not going to look flat. So you want to make sure you add glue from that point forward, and that's as much as you're going to insert. Now the bottom, I'm going to take care of it on the table because I cannot see it. It's just got too big, and that's what I love about wreath making, you guys. You start with a tiny little form, and before you know it, you have a spectacular design worthy of the White House, I would say, if I do say so myself. Okay, give it a little curvature. And when you follow this masterclass, you will see that I am pretty repetitive with certain things, but you guys, that's how I learn, by repetition. If you hear it once, then it's fine. But if you hear it over and over and over and over again, I promise you it will sink in to your brain. And before you know it, you'll be designing and you'll be like, oh, what happens there? What happens there? Without even like thinking too much about it. And that's when you really become fast at what you do, because your brain is almost like it goes in autopilot. So we're getting almost to the end. So you will hear me repeat myself a lot about the same thing, and don't think it's on purpose. It is so that you will remember what I'm talking about, and it will become ingrained in your brain, and before you know it, you will know all the secrets of the trade like I learned them by osmosis, basically. Because I remember when I worked at the flower shop and I asked my coworkers, hey, how do you do it? People that have been in the industry for over 25 years, and I would ask, how do you do that? And be like, I don't know, I just do it. And so I started paying attention, and that's when I discovered all of the secrets, you know, and it was just by paying attention that what happens on the right, creating balance, you know, happens on the left. And at this point, what I'm doing, because I already went all the way around, I'm just gonna go start to layer. So I'm going to go on places I've already been, like let's say right here, and I want another one, just add another one. And this one, see how I put it this way? I don't like that. It has to follow that radius. So we have to pull them up like that. So that way it continues to be like this. Now, another thing I want to talk to you about is like when you're working on a wreath on a stand, we tend to forget this little side right here because we're so close to it and we worry more about the other side. Well, the way to do it is to get away from it and then go back out and start from the back. Ow, I just burned myself again. Like that. All right, I'm gonna stop with this one right here. I have a few, but remember, we always save a few till the end. In and out, in and out, in and out, all the way to the back. And then I'm gonna put these ones over here. I'm gonna move my scissors because they're getting some glue on it. All right, there we go. Then I'm gonna bring this white one. I'm gonna bring a few of them, probably 4. And you know that I like to cut all at once. Like this. This is a good stem. So we're gonna get 1, 2, 3 out of it. Once again, remove that tag and cut right below. 1, 2, 3. You have to find that joint, like right here where they're joined together. That's what you want to cut. 1, remove that tag. 2 and 3. You want to give them a little bit of fluff. And you know what? I'm going to do the last one. Why not? I mean, I already pulled it, so might as well. This is what really is going to give it that texture, and it's going to bring some of that white back. Like that. You just want to give them, like I said, a little bit of a fluff as you go. Like this particular one right here, I think it's a little too long. So at this point, what you want to do is cut a little bit. And then we're gonna grab our hot glue gun and once again, add that glue, smear, smear, smear. And I'm going to add right here on the top, like that. And look, that's just going to add an extra layer of goodness. Goodness. Cut a little bit. I wanted to get close to the form. Like if I wanted to really fly away, of course I'll leave it like super long. I'm gonna add this one right here to the bottom, all the way to the bottom. Because remember, what happens on the right happens on the left. And the way you want to do that is because as soon as you insert one to the right, immediately go to the left. Like right here, I'm going to add this one right here to my right. And then immediately, so I don't forget, you move over and you go to the left and you insert one right here. It's about having that product all throughout the wreath. So what happens on the right happens on the left. What goes up must come down. And from, remember, what goes in also come out. All right, you guys, so I love the way this wreath turned out with all of its flyaways. The pin one is so cute, and this is super loaded with gorgeous ornaments. The beautiful ribbons really make a difference. It pops out. Our mesh material and all of this beautiful greenery that is flocked, it makes a spectacular wreath. I really hope you enjoyed this DIY, and I cannot wait to come back with even more. So see you then. All right, so now that we have our mesh laid into our wreath, we're gonna start with a ribboning, you guys. My favorite part about decorating a Christmas tree or a wreath. Why? Because I love ribbon. I love ribbon. Ribbon, I think, loves me back. And so we're going to start with this candy theme inspired wreath. Now, there's many ways to add ribbon to your Christmas tree, and I'm always trying to do something different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch right here, and I'm going to do maybe a 2-loop bow like this, and then like this. So pretty big bows. And so I'm gonna add a wire because I'm gonna have to attach to this wreath, and this form, the bristles are pretty thick. Once again, when you have flocked wreaths like this, it is a little bit more difficult to use those bristles, but that's what these wires are for, you'll see. So I'm gonna grab this bristle right here. Let me see if I can go any further. Maybe this one right here. I'm gonna go all the way down, and then you just grab that wire and you twist it on that bristle and then hide your wire. And so now we're going to attach our bow. And for this particular one, I'm gonna do a loop right here. Then I'm going to grab one of those bristles and pinch, giving me this loop. And so now I'm going to grab another one of these loops like this and pinch, and just go in there and fluff those bows as you go. And I'm going to do one more on this side. It's probably about 20 inches. The easiest way to do it is fold it like a taco and then pinch it. And that's gonna leave you with that beautiful loop. Once again, grab a bristle, find a bristle to pinch like that. And so now I'm gonna cut into my dovetail. And you guys, if I come to your house, and a lot of people at this point, I'm sorry, like they're making fun of me for saying this, but I have done it. If I come to your house and your dovetails are not, or your ribbons are not dovetail, most likely I'm gonna ask you for a pair of scissors so that I can do you a favor and dovetail those ribbons for you. I have people who says, well, I'm gonna leave them on dovetail on purpose so you can come to my house and do it. And I'll tell you a story. One time I went to my friend's house. I'm not gonna say names, but if you're watching, you know who you are. And she had a beautiful wreath on her door. Her name was Ember. Where is Ember? There. I know you know what you've done, Ember. And so she had a gorgeous wreath, and I don't know where she got it, not from Ramon at home. And her ribbons, these Stevens ribbons, were not dovetail. And so I was like, Ember, do you have a pair of scissors I can borrow? She's like, why? I was like, just let me borrow your scissors, girl. And she let me borrow the scissors, and I dovetailed them for her. She's like, oh, I didn't know you had to do that. I was like, yeah, it's not your fault. It's the designer who designed this wreath who didn't do it for you. So I'm going to do it again right here. Remember to always fluff these bows like this. And so now I'm going to grab my ribbon, pinch like a taco, fold to create that pleat. And then we're gonna go here and grab one of these bristles, just twist it around. Look how pretty this ribbon is, you guys. It has this iridescent element to it, and I think it is so absolutely gorgeous. For this particular side, I'm going to do it twice, pinch like a taco, fold it. It creates a pleat right here. And then I'm going to grab another bristle. Let me see, let me find a good one. Right here, fold it in half. You could also wire at this point if you wanted to. And then I'm going to cut right here a dovetail, a long dovetail, so that way there's like some tails flying in the air when this is out on the door. Look how pretty that is. Okay, I think I'm gonna just do those two right there because I have other ribbons that I want to add. So I'm going to pick up my ribbon. This is good to do a bow tutorial because it's such a pretty ribbon. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add loops to it. I'm going to add a big bow right here and a big bow right here. Let me see, what do I want to do? No, I think what I want to do is I'm going to add a black and white polka dot. Let me see, I have options. No, yeah, it is going to be this one right here. So I have this black and white polka dot. I want it to be candy lane, but like a little bit more modern looking. So I'm gonna drop it on the floor. Oh my gosh, this ribbon is so good. It feels really good on your hand. These all are from Shinoda Design Center, you guys. So if you wanna give them a call, be sure to give them a call and inquire about these ribbons. Everything that you're seeing, it's from Shinoda Design Center. So we're gonna do 3 loop bows like this. I'm gonna grab my wire. And I'm gonna start with a bow here. I have figured out. This is a good thing about designing because you can always figure it out as you go. So I'm gonna start with a bow right here, like this. And then what I want to do is I'm going to make a loop to bring it out like this. Then I'm gonna grab a bristle somewhere in here, just dig in for one. And then I'm gonna do one more to maybe here. But you know what, I think it'd be really cute if we actually, instead of, okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to pinch like this, and then we're going to create a bow right here. So we're going to have a 3 loop bow, just like the one we did. And so now I'm gonna wire this. This is the beauty of designing, you guys. You're not attached to any way, shape, or form of making wreaths. The beauty of it is that you can do whatever you want. So look, instead of having bow, so now I'm going to attach right here. I'm going to look for a bristle inside with my thumb. There you go, I grab one. And so now there's this right here, there's this bow. And so now I'm gonna take it over to the outside. And look, I'm going to do this and attach right here. Like this. And so now I'm going to do this to go with this one right here. But here also I'm going to make a bow. So we're gonna fold like a taco, bring a loop up like this, a 3 loop bow, and we're going to grab a wire and we're going to attach this 3 loop bow right at the joint where we join this one right here. We're gonna look for a bristle. Let me see, right here. Like that. We're gonna fluff and we're going to leave a tail right here. So now we have 1, 2, 3 bows. Girl, this one needs fluffing. I'll get to it in a second. And so now we're going to do the same thing over on this side. We're gonna grab this. Once again, the beauty about the siding is that you get to invent whatever you want. If you just follow those techniques, what happens on the right happens on the left, what goes up must come down. I promise you, you will be left with some beautiful designs on your wreath. Okay, so now I'm gonna do a 3-loop bow, but now this is gonna be a little difficult because I'm going to go from the bottom up. You'll see what I mean. So I'm going to start right here at the bottom. So therefore I have to make sure that, well, first of all, I should have left a longer tail. Yeah, I'm gonna save this bow for later. I'm gonna cut right here because you'll see in a minute. Because I'm going up, I have to make sure that I leave a longer tail hanging down. Like this. So now I'm gonna leave a longer tail like that. That's gonna hang out. Then we're gonna pinch, gather, pinch, gather, pinch, gather, grab me a wire, attach to it. Disco balls, disco balls, disco balls, you guys. I love a disco ball for the holiday season. It reflects the light, especially this pink. And I'm going to start with these ones because they're heavy and I have to wire them. So they already come pre-wired. So I'm going to grab a bristle from the back and just twist it really good. Now I'm going to create that triangle I always tell you about. And my point I decided is going to be the top. So I need to come down to this side to create that triangle. And I'm going to grab a bristle. And like I said, these are super heavy. Not super heavy, they're heavier than an ornament. So that's why we have to wire them. And we also have to make sure that we push all the way to the back so that it looks intentional. Anything that is heavy like this, it's best to be wired. And so here's my line, and then I'm going to meet right here. So I'm going to put my hand through right here and grab my wire so I can pull, and then I can just wire right here in the back to the form. Well, this is where it gets tricky, but there's nothing a good wire cannot fix. Look at that. Perfect. So now here we have our triangle. For the next one, it's this rose gold that I think it's super cute and has a wire. So I'm gonna take that out. I'm gonna grab my glue. Once again, be generous with that glue. And so we're gonna go in between all of this. And once again, this is where the mesh comes in handy because look, all you have to do is put a little dab of glue or a lot of glue, let's be honest. I like to put a lot of glue on my ornaments just to make sure that when the wind catches, it's not going to be crashing down on you. And so we're going to go in between all of this right here. So in and out, remember what happens on the right happens on the left. What goes up must come down, and everything that goes out must come in. And if you remember this, sometimes these ornaments you have to hold for a little bit. But as I was saying, if you remember these rules, you too will be able to create absolutely stunning designs. That's a promise. That's balance. A well-balanced wreath or arrangement or Christmas tree, it's a beautiful wreath, arrangement, or Christmas tree. So if you remember these rules, you too can create gorgeous designs. So I'm gonna add this guy right here. Once again, the gravity is doing its thing, so you have to kind of take a second to have them attached to that mesh. Great, that's gonna stay. All right, so now I have these cute candy ones, faves. I'm gonna add some of these. Remember, we always do our ornaments first, then our picks. So I always like to do mesh, ribbon, ornament, sprays. Oh, I'm out of glue. I'm out of glue, but no problem, because I'll make sure that I brought plenty. And we're going to add some of this. Remember, where we are doing ornaments, what we're trying to do is cluster all of our ornaments together. And the way we do that is we create clusters like this. I told you before that if I'm doing a Christmas tree, then I like to wire them because it's easier to manipulate. But if I'm just doing a wreath, then I like to just glue. And the way we create those clusters is by grouping them together, like right here. I feel like I can use one right here. See, now we have these two, we have these two, we have these two. So right here, there's a cluster. And so we have to continue to put ornaments in. So now, Jameson, is this all we have for ornaments? Is there any other ones that there is?
Yeah, fuchsia.
Fuchsia, no, I don't think fuchsia is going to do. Do we have, you know what, give me the rest of those white ones. The white ones will look pretty with this. So we're gonna go right here. Look at that, how cute is that? Here's some white ones on the floor that we can, you have to make sure that what goes up must come down. What happens on the right happens on the left. And that there's elements similar all throughout the wreath. So that way it looks balanced and well made. So I'm going to add maybe another one, maybe back here. Yeah, I feel like back here will look pretty. All right, you guys, so we got to the point where we are doing our flyaways. And for that, I chose this eucalyptus. That look, it just comes apart so beautifully. It is a paper wrap, and when they're paper wrap, well, you can just take them apart like this. And to me, a wreath is beautiful and all, but it's not as finished as when we add our flyaways. And for this occasion, I chose these two varieties of it, and you will see what this does to your wreath. Remember, it's not done till it's overdone, honey. Go big or go home. And what was the other one? It's not done till it's overdone. Go big or home. When you think you're done, double it. Those are lingos in the floral design, especially for wedding work. We would ask each other, "Oh, you think this is done?" And then somebody would say, if you think it's done, double it. Or I think I'm done. It's not done till it's overdone. So that's what we do here at Ramon at Home. We overdo, and to me, that's the most beautiful when you overdo. All right, so we're going to grab our stems and we're going to add some glue to it. And because as you guys saw, this came apart so beautifully. It has a very thin wire stem, and I just like to do a curvature and add some glue to it. And look what this is going to do. Now remember, what goes up must come down. What goes out must come in. What goes up must come down. We're going to work our way around. And the way we do that is by starting at the top, let that glue smear, and then I'm gonna go out right here, like that. And once again, a wreath is not done till it has the flyaways in. All of these things is what makes the wreath dance on the door. What goes out must come in, so we're gonna go right here, lifting out our bow, because we want it to be balanced. Balance is our friend. And the way we achieve balance is by remembering that what goes up must come down. You guys wait till you see the next pick that I chose for flyaways. It's my favorite. I always say that's my favorite, but it really is my favorite, and you will see why. Okay, so out, remember that we have to go all the way around the perimeter of our wreath, working our way in. And that's why I wanted to put mesh, because now the mesh is going to catch some of this right here. So I'm gonna put one right about here. Going through that mesh really helps to lock in all of that glue. And I promise you, if you try to pull it, you won't be able to, because the mesh, well, at one point, if you pull hard enough, of course you will. But look right there, I like to go through the mesh so it sticks to it. All right, so once again, adding some glue. And I'm gonna go over this side now. And remember that we have to keep this shape going on a motion, on a clock motion or counterclock motion, but you cannot do both, honey, because it will look not good. I've done it before, and that is one thing that I learned working in the floral industry, was that in order to look cohesive, you have to go one side only, like you have to go in one motion only, and then look. Like this, you have to also go inside, because that way your eye travels and it creates more drama. Remember that I'm always telling you it's all about the drama, and I love me some drama, honey. But not the personal kind, just the wreath making kind. And so I always like to add drama with the picks and the stems and all of the things. So I'm going to once again fold, add some glue, and I'm going to go all the way down here, because what goes up, what must come down. And so we don't forget also that what happens on the right happens on the left. All right, you guys, so this is the end result. I am obsessed with this beautiful pink and black polka dot
beautiful wreath and the little detail right here. Like I told you, all of this is what makes your wreath really sing, and I absolutely love the way this turned out. It is super easy to make. I know it looks a little bit dramatic, but I told you I love my drama on my wreaths, and if I can do it, so can you. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I cannot wait to come back with even more. All right, well, that's all I have for today, and I really hope you enjoyed these fabulous Christmas wreath DIY ideas. If you did, don't forget to come and check out our private group at Ramon at Home Masterclass over on Facebook. Thank you guys so much for watching. Consider subscribing, and as always, you can watch more videos right now. Until next time, bye.